Episode 6 of the Amazing Digital Circus is hands down one of the best episodes we've gotten so far for this series. The episode had a great balance of humor, emotional depth, character development, and expanded the lore and dynamics of all of the characters. Everyone receiving weapons and engaging in a team-based battle led to some intense and emotionally charged moments. And not only were those moments the highlights of the episode, but they also raised a lot of questions. In order to answer those questions and more, I'll be analyzing episode 6 in great detail. This way, not only will we be able to get more context and a better understanding of all of the moments in episode 6, but that they will help give us a good idea as to what could happen in the next episode of the Amazing Digital Circus. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. To kick things off, episode 6 opens with an announcement from Caine stating that today's adventure is sponsored by the Favorite Character Awards. We then see Jax and Pomni walking around the circus and they come across Zubul hiding inside a flower pot. The reason that Zubul is hiding from Caine is because Zubul does not want to take part in his in-house adventure. Zubul also goes on about stating how Caine has been checking their room, and every time Zubul doesn't answer, Caine starts singing Daisy Bell. What's interesting about the song Daisy Bell is that it has a unique place in computer history as the first song ever sung by a computer. As for why the song is in episode 6, it could very much well be just an Easter egg, or perhaps the song holds a deeper meaning. Whatever the case is, feel free to let me know down in the comments. From here, Jax calls loudly for Caine, who zooms over and snaps Zubul out of the flower pot. Caine says they need even numbers for the team adventure he has planned. Over at the stage, Caine tells the group that they will be playing special sports of his own making. While listing all the sports that the group will be playing, Zubul cuts Caine off, refusing to play on the team with Jax. When Caine asks Zubul why must you always complain, Zubul brings up the suggestion bots, of which Caine ends up revealing to the group that he doesn't like the suggestion bots and has gotten rid of it. Which makes you wonder, why did Caine get rid of the suggestion bots? Well, the answer actually lies in episode 5. During that episode, Caine goes on about putting the cast on a lightning round, where they go through all the suggestions in the suggestion bots in rapid succession. And if any of them don't like the adventure that they're currently on, they can all vote to skip it. When we see the group on the stargazing adventure, we see Caine and the moon looking down at the group and both exclaim how happy the group looks and how they're enjoying the adventure that they chose. However, when the moon goes on about suggesting something to Caine, Caine says,
"Wait a minute, that's a bad thing. I think they're enjoying the suggestion box adventures more than the me adventures."
This scene here tells us that Caine is afraid that if the group continues going on about using the suggestion bots more and go on adventures that they like rather than what Caine likes, that he feels like his purpose, his existence, is meaningless. And when he starts to think that way, he starts glitching. We see this happen in episodes 3 and 6. Of course, this pairs along with the fact that Caine likes to maintain control of everything and run everything his way. So, by getting rid of the suggestion bots, he regains control once again. When Caine recovers from what Zubul said, Zubul reiterates that a team game isn't going to work with someone like Jax. Caine proposes that they do a trust exercise in which one person will unload a gun and then give it to another person to put against their own head. Zubul, however, refuses to do that with Jax. Caine gives the gun to Jax, but Jax wasn't paying attention to the instructions. Caine grabs Jax and tries to implant the instructions into his mind, but Jax, being Jax, shoots Ragatha.
Huh?
Zubul once again complains about the adventure, and Caine comes up with new rules. There will be 3 teams of 2, they each have 3 lives, and the last team standing wins. Caine gives the group 5 minutes to figure out their teams. Jax tries to take Gangle for his team, but Gangle teams up with Zubul instead. Pomni asks Ragatha if she wants to team up with her, but Ragatha is concerned about how Kinger would fare if he teamed up with Jax. At first, Pomni seems happy about the idea of teaming up with Kinger again, as the two of them previously went on an adventure together in episode 3, and that they worked really well together. But Ragatha realizes that arrangement would force her to team up with Jax. And from what we've seen happen between both Jax and Ragatha in previous episodes, that team up wouldn't work out so well. Seeing her concern, Pomni offers to be on Jax's team, thus allowing Ragatha to team up with Kinger. Ragatha is concerned about this idea, but doesn't have any other option. Ragatha tells Pomni that she can talk to her if she ever needs help with anything, but both of them look a bit awkward as they part. This is something that we'll look at more into later on in the loser corner scene. After Pomni joins Jax's team, the game begins and Ragatha is dismayed to see that she only has 2 lives due to Jax shooting her before the game started. The team split up to look for the guns. Kinger ends up finding a pistol. When Ragatha mentions the fact that she only has 2 hearts while everyone else has 3, Kinger creates a glowing butterfly that brings Ragatha back up to 3 lives. Now, all you're probably wondering, how is Kinger able to do this? Well, I believe that the answer is that Kinger is able to manipulate reality and create things with his mind, just like Caine. After all, when Ragatha asks Kinger, did Caine mention to us that we can create things like the healing butterflies, Kinger says,
"Oh, nah. I made it up."
Another thing to add on is that back when Kinger was a human in the real world, he spent 7 years studying computer science. We learned about this back in episode 3.
7 years of computer science for this, huh?
Kinger has also been in the circus longer than any other character, so taking the fact that he possesses knowledge of manipulating the circus, has 7 years of computer science experience, and has been in the circus longer than any other character, suggests that either Kinger helped create the digital circus or was the one who created it, which also means that he created Caine. But of course, we know something bad happened, which led to Kinger getting stuck in the the digital circus. And with Kinger being stuck in the circus and no longer in charge of it, Caine comes in and takes charge. This is evidenced by the pictures we see Caine look at in episode 6. These pictures most likely act as a reminder of a time back when both he and the circus were first created by Kinger in the CNA company, back when Kinger was in charge. So now, with Kinger being able to make things up, and Ragatha seeing and hearing about this, the knowledge of manipulating reality will get shared with the others, and that they will come together and use their minds to escape the digital circus. But of course, Caine is going to make it easy for them, as we all know that Caine always wants to maintain control. But anyways, let's get back on track. Jax and Pomni find a revolver. While they're discussing strategy, Pomni suggests that she will find guns and let Jax do all the fighting. Jax asks Pomni why she is so reluctant to shoot anyone when that is literally the goal of the game. Pomni says she doesn't want to hurt them because they're her friends.
Look, I know what it's like. One day you're somebody in the real world doing important things, and then the next you're just a weird little cartoon jester. You want to hold on to that part of you that still thinks it's part of that world, but in the end, what does it get you? I know you hate it here. Everyone does. But the silver lining is you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Jax encourages her to cut loose and try something new, something wild today. Pomni decides to try something new and gives the gun a twirl and then shoots one of the tin cans. Pomni is surprised by this. Inspired, Pomni decides to have fun and act evil. Cutting back to Ragatha and Kinger, Kinger loses the heart when he gets sniped by Zubul. Stuffing flies in all directions when Ragatha gets blasted by Jax and Pomni. After getting shot, Ragatha responds and takes cover. She grabs a gun, but unfortunately it turns out to be a bang flag gun, and she is quickly shot again by Jax. Ragatha runs into a colorful hallway, but Jax corners her. Ragatha then goes on about saying,
I know exactly what you're doing with Pomni, and it'll never work!
Huh?
You know, getting close with Pomni to corrupt her.
When Jax tries to shoot her, Ragatha sticks her finger into the barrel of his revolver, causing it to backfire on him and take one of his hearts. While Ragatha says that she didn't think that would actually work, Jax discards the gun in his hand and pulls out a new one and shoots Ragatha. He keeps doing so until he runs out of ammo. We can see an annoyed and irritated expression appear on Jax's face, almost as if Ragatha's words have struck a nerve in him. Out of lies, Ragatha is sent to the loser corner. Pomni tells Jax that Kinger only has one life left. We then make our way to Zubul, who has found an AK, but Gangle is still holding out for a Tommy gun. Gangle wonders if Jax will be angry at her for not teaming up with him and wonders what his revenge against her might be. Zubul encourages Gangle that she is a human, not Jax's toy, to embrace her real self, flaws and all, despite her comedy mask, which is a symbol of her perceived shortcomings. Zubul suggests that self-love requires an intentional choice to value the genuine self over the perceived imperfections, even if it feels unnatural. The conversation ends with a promise of mutual support between Zubul and Gangle, though Gangle's final joking line about killing Jax and Pomni hints at the darker, potentially unstable nature of the digital circus that they inhabit. We then make our way back to Pomni and Jax. While searching for the others, Pomni asks Jax why he's afraid of corn. It turns out that Jax possibly has some form of trypophobia. Then they come across Kinger, who is hiding in a doorway leading to a pitch black room. From there, a shootout commences, and during the action, Jax accidentally shoots Pomni at one point. Kinger tries a super ricochet move, in which the bullet bounces all over the room, but when the lights come on, it turns out this only succeeded in hitting Kinger himself, and now he is out of lives. Kinger arrives in the loser corner where he sees Ragatha is looking very sad.
You feeling all right? Are you upset that we lost? Are you upset about something else? You want to talk about it?
I think I might have failed Pomni. Just like I failed Jax.
Some of you are probably wondering, why does Ragatha say, I think I might have failed Pomni just like I failed Jax? Well, I believe that the reason she says this is because of her deep insecurity and fear of rejection. Ragatha views her attempts to connect with Pomni and Jax as unsuccessful. Her efforts to be kind and helpful has not resulted in the close friendships she desires. She realizes that her people-pleasing and positive facade might be perceived as insincere or overwhelming, driving people away. Ragatha feels like no one else likes her, and though she has tried to connect with Pomni, she worries that Pomni is drifting away from her. To sympathize with Ragatha, Kinger tells her how he used to hate himself due to all the feelings of guilt he was carrying, but his outlook started to change after Ragatha arrived in the circus. As for why Kinger believes he feels guilt, it could be related to what I said earlier about how I believe that Kinger either helped create the digital circus or he created it himself. Because of this, he feels like he is responsible for the others being trapped. Plus, the abstraction of his wife Queenie also likely contributed to his guilt as well. Kinger then encourages Ragatha to take care of herself too while she's worrying about everyone else. Ragatha wonders how Kinger is so wise and coherent. Little does she know that this wise and coherent side of Kinger only shows up when he's in a dark area. Little do they know, their conversation is interrupted by Bubble, who has been filming them on a video recorder. Meanwhile, Pomni and Jax pursue Zubul and Gangle through a tube. Both teams are almost out of ammo, but then Gangle finds a Tommy gun. With her comedy mask on, Gangle rushes out, shooting wildly with her Tommy gun while she laughs maniacally. Gangle fails to hit anyone, but the bullets cut through the tube, which causes it to fall apart. Everyone falls onto the ground below. Gangle is relieved that her mask didn't break, but Pomni quickly snatches Zubul's sniper rifle and loads it with the one sniper bullet that she found earlier. earlier. Pomni eliminates Gangle with a quick headshot. Zubul then runs to their room and locks the door. Zubul rummages through a chest of hearts and attaches on some extra arms. Jax and Pomni then go about tauntingly singing Daisy Bells outside of Zubul's door. While this is happening, Zubul finds several weapons. Jax takes out the key to Zubul's room. Once Jax unlocks the door to Zubul's room, Zubul throws a flashbang and shoots rapidly at both Jax and Pomni. Zubul takes off down the hall while Pomni and Jax respawn in their last lives. Pomni rushes out after Zubul. Jax then scoots over to a wall. We then take the perspective of Jax and we see him look at Kaufmo's door, which makes him feel angry and upset. Then Jax goes on about looking at Ribbit's door and this causes him to pause. His pause is most likely due to a traumatic memory of his, a memory about Ribbit's abstraction. After Jax witnessed Ribbit's abstraction, he was traumatized from the experience, and that experience likely contributed to his defensive, cynical, and detached behavior that we see in the digital circus. Cutting back to Pomni, she takes note of the one bullet remaining in her revolver. Pomni does a dramatic flourish and fires. Her bullet ricochets all over the place, somehow managing to precisely disarm all four of Zubul's weapons. Jax and Pomni finish off Zubul, and Zubul arrives in a loser corner to see that everyone else is dressed like a cat for some reason. Pomni hugs Jax, saying that they make a good team. Jax looks uncomfortable being hugged and shrugs her off, saying that their competitors weren't anything special. Still in character as Pomni the Evil, Pomni theoretically suggests that they betray each other now, pointing her gun at Jax. Jax just tosses his gun away and tells her to go ahead, but it doesn't feel fun to Pomni if Jax isn't playing too. Pomni suggests they can just celebrate their victory as a team, but Jax suddenly says they were never a team, and that Pomni was delusional to think otherwise. Pomni was hurt to think that what they felt like bonding to her didn't feel that way to Jax. Jax flippantly denies them being friends and keeps deflecting. Pomni gets upset at Jax's refusal to show any genuine emotion and says that behavior like this might contribute to abstraction. Jax laughs bitterly and anger starts to show in his voice, despite the grin on his face.
Oh my God! Are you seriously gonna blame me for something that everybody else did too? You didn't even know him! You don't even know what people are like before they abstract! They are not pleasant to be around. Like at all!
These words that Jax says hold a lot of context and details about Jax and his behavior. Let's start off with the first line. Oh my God, are you seriously going to blame me for something everybody else did too? This is most likely Jax deflecting blame by claiming that everyone else participates in similar behaviors. This also implies his actions are not unique or solely responsible for any negative outcomes. The second line, you didn't even know him, is most likely referring to Ribbit, Jax's close friend, who abstracted before the current events of the series. This line also suggests that Jax's outburst hints at a personal connection between him and Ribbit, Ribbit's abstraction, and resentment towards Pomni for trying to understand or judge the situation she wasn't a part of. And what I'm about to say next is just a theory, but it's also possible that Jax is the one responsible for Ribbit's abstraction. Ribbit's backstory and the precise circumstances of his abstraction remain unconfirmed in the series. However, the connection between Ribbit and Jax, combined with Jax's unsettling personality, provides a fertile ground for this theory. The third line, you don't even know what people are like before they abstract, they are not pleasant to be around like at all, not only supports what I just said not too long ago, but it also implies that Jax has witnessed a slow and painful process of abstraction, most likely Ribbit's abstraction, which ended up leaving a profound impact on him. He may also be trying to justify his behavior as a coping mechanism or a way to protect himself from forming attachments that could lead to more pain. Overall, these lines reveal a more vulnerable side to Jax. He struggles with the trauma of losing Ribbit, Kaufmo, and all those who have abstracted and is trying to push others away to avoid further hurt. It's also possible that all the things that Jax and Pomni did together during the in-house adventure, all the time that they used to get to know each other more, and the way that Pomni acts could remind Jax about Ribbit. Jax recovers and tries to return to his usual demeanor. Pomni apologizes for what she said, but both of them are shaken.
What would you do if I abstracted tomorrow?
I'd move on and probably forget about you.
Pomni turns away, crushed. As she looks at the gun in her hand, Jax says she just can't take a joke. This causes Pomni to snap. She throws the gun at Jax, then throws herself at him, grabbing him by the throat, throws a Rubik's Cube and a plant at him, biting his leg, and yelling at him to fight back. Jax finally throws her off. Jax asks Pomni what is wrong with her, and Pomni asks Jax why he didn't fight back. And let me tell you, this scene that I'm about to show you is probably one of the most impactful emotional scenes that I have ever seen.
Oh, here we go. Here we go! Because I didn't fight back, that means I secretly care about you? I'm just a misunderstood little chicken fetus in an egg that needs to be cracked open. Well, I am not. I do not care about you or anyone else in this circus in the slightest. End of story. You are my playthings, and I get joy out of making you suffer. I'm the one who causes pain for fun. If I led you on, it was just to make this part hurt you more. Fuck. There's nothing more to me. So please, just stop looking.
So let's break this scene's dialogue down line by line to get a better understanding of this scene. Let's start off with the first line, why didn't you fight back? The reason that Jax didn't fight back against Pomni is because not only did he not want to hurt her, but that deep down, he cares about her. The next line, because I didn't fight back, that means I secretly care about you, tells us that he is mocking the idea that his actions could be interpreted as anything other than malicious. He uses the misunderstood little chicken fetus metaphor to further empathize his rejection of vulnerability and emotional connection. Then we have the third line, I do not care about you or anyone else in this circus in the slightest. End of story. This is a direct and forceful denial of any positive feelings towards the other characters. He wants to solidify the idea that he's purely driven by a desire to cause pain. The fourth line supports this when Jax says, you are my playthings and I get joy out of making you suffer. He's doubling down on the sadistic interpretation of his actions, empathizing that his goal is to inflict pain and misery. Then there's the fifth line, if I led you on, it was just to make this part hurt you more. What this line tells us is Jax is twisting his previous actions to make them seem even more malicious, implying that any positive interaction was a calculated move to amplify the pain of their conflict. And lastly, we have the final line, there's nothing more to me, so please just stop looking. He rejects any attempts to understand or connect with him, pushing Pomni away and trying to maintain his cruel facade. Overall, this whole scene's context is that Jax is in the midst of a personal crisis, trying to reconcile his genuine feelings with the persona he has built for himself. His outburst is a desperate attempt to maintain that persona, even at the cost of pushing away the people he cares about. His final actions, turning away, cursing, and kicking the Rubik's Cube, are all signs of his attempt to distance himself from vulnerability and to hide his true emotions. Before we continue, I actually want to go over this image that Glitch put up on their YouTube channel. In this image, we can see Jax's shadow in a trash can, and in that trash can, we see a photo of Jax and Pomni being a chaotic duo. This picture symbolizes their developing, albeit complex friendship. The photo was most likely taken during a moment of shared joy or camaraderie during the in-house adventure, which contrasts with the strained relationship they have at the end of episode 6, where Jax pushes Pomni away and discards the photo. Just like the other hints and details that we talked about in this video, this image here tells us about Jax's struggle and his emotional vulnerability. Now that we've gone over that, let's continue. Later throughout the day, the group goes to a theater where the favorite character awards is being held. We then get a shot of Pomni walking and a shot of Jax walking. At first, it seems like the two are about to run into each other, but instead, Pomni and Ragatha run into each other. Both are wanting to say something to the other, but Pomni suggests that the two talk after the show, of which Ragatha agrees. While everyone takes their seats, Jax suddenly starts to have a panic attack and runs to the bathroom. As he stands at the sink, the pupils in his eyes become mere scribbles, and he breathes heavily, spiraling out of control, possibly on the verge of abstraction. Jax manages to calm down. Jax goes on about saying,
God, you look stupid.
This comment is actually a reflection of his sarcastic, condescending, and often cruel personality. He frequently uses insults and demeaning language as a way to interact with others and cope with the absurdity and isolation of a situation. Jax is then distracted by Caine gives Zubul the award for biggest sailor mouth. We also see that Zubul used some stupid sauce and is now, well, stupid. Pomni looks nervously at the back of the theater where she sees Jax go back to his seat, now with his usual grin. Ragatha looks at Pomni and Pomni shakes her head no, implying that both of the characters know for a fact that something is up with Jax. Caine announces that he himself has won the award for favorite character, but then realizes he misread the card and the winner is actually Ming. After the credits, Caine checks to see how many votes he got, and when he sees he didn't get any, he glitches out for a moment and his eyes change to blue and red. Once again, some of you are probably wondering, what does this mean? My theory is that the glitching and shift in his eye colors could suggest a deeper decline in his mental or programmatic state within the circus. This would also suggest the possibility that Caine is dealing with similar struggles just like the others within the circus. Plus, the time we've seen Caine glitch back in episodes 3 and 6 were caused by the fact that if nobody likes his adventures, if nobody likes him, that his purpose, his existence, feels meaningless. After witnessing Caine glitching out and his eyes changing, this then brings us to the end of episode 6. And now that we officially dissected every single detail and moment of episode 6, we now have a better understanding of it, its context, and
The lore!
However, this now leaves us with one lingering question. What is going to happen in the next episode of the Amazing Digital Circus? In order to figure this out, let's look back at the previous episodes and see which characters were the focus of that episode, starting off with episode 2. Episode 2 focused on Pomni. Episode 3 focused on Kinger and Zubul. Episode 4 focused on Gangle. Episode 5 focused on Ragatha, and episode 6 focused on Jax. So, seeing how all the 6 main characters have already been covered in the previous episodes, the only character that leaves us with is Caine. So, episode 7 could focus on Caine, and based on everything else that I talked about regarding episode 6, episode 7 could also focus on Jax, with potential themes of him nearing abstraction and the consequences of his past actions. Another thing that we could see happen in episode 7 is that Ragatha might be the one to reveal Jax's past to Pomni, company, potentially sparking a turning point in their friendship. Episode 7 may also explore Caine's mental state shattering, leading to increased hostility within the circus. Furthermore, the episode may delve into the relationships between the characters and their inner struggles. We could also get to see new areas in the circus as well. And of course, more info and insight on not only Kinger and his knowledge of manipulating reality in the digital circus, but also the Roman NPC. Oh, and I almost forgot, more info and insight on the C&A company, because you already know that I gotta have that. Lord! Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to do it again because, yeah. Anyways, and those are all of my predictions for episode 7 of the Amazing Digital Circus. And with that, this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed everything that you saw here today. If you guys have any theories on episode 6, if there's anything that I missed in episode 6, or have any predictions for episode 7, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Also, if you guys found this video both enjoyable and entertaining, I would really appreciate if you could leave a like down below. And of course, if you want to see more videos just like this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you won't miss out on any of my uploads. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, positive, beautiful, another, and remember, the grind never stops, and I'll see you guys in the next one.